Yo, 95% Rookie here. Today I'm going to be going over a few mods that really make the core Arma infantry experience better in pretty much all scenarios. These mods also have little to no effect on mission scripting, so they can be safely run with most scenarios, including the campaign, although you can run into certain issues here and there. Arma 3 is coming on 13 years old now, and despite having a lot going for it, certain aspects to its gameplay have aged rather poorly. And thanks to its huge modding scene, a lot of talented modders have come up with tweaks that make it feel a lot newer and fresher compared to the vanilla experience. If you're looking for an excuse to play the campaign again or just get back into the game after being tired of it, these mods are for you, because although some have been around for a while, a few have only come out in the last couple of years. We've got around 14 mods in this list, although some of them are kind of combined together depending on what they do, so it might be a little different from 14. So to start, I'm going to go with sound mods. Now, there are a lot of sound mods in Arma 3, and a lot will suit your preference since it's quite subjective. But right now, what I am really enjoying is JSRS 2025. JSRS was a big sound mod back in the day, and recently it's been updated with lots of new sounds that really make firefights pop. Really can't go wrong with it. Next up, I have a small collection of mods that include a line, animated recoil coefficient changer, and Exocet immersive reloads. These three come together to make general gunplay a lot better in my opinion, although if you think certain parts are over the top, they are easily configurable in the add-on options using CBA. A line essentially makes it so when you go to aim down the sights, there's a small delay before your sights line up with your center of your screen. Although you're still able to shoot, it means if you want to have an accurate shot, you're kind of forced to slow down for a second, which in my opinion adds an interesting aspect to the gunplay. It ties in nicely with the animated recoil coefficient changer, which makes it so shooting will actually misalign your sights somewhat, and recoil becomes a lot more punchy so you can really feel it. This is something that some may find annoying, but personally I really like how it makes aiming in Arma 3 feel a lot less mechanical and something you have to fight against more, making shots harder to make. Exocet Immersive Reloads is a smaller mod that essentially adds a little screen shake effect when changing magazines. It's a small touch that makes switching mags feel more impactful. All three of these mods together have greatly improved my enjoyment of Arma 3's gameplay and gunplay in general, and it really makes infantry combat a lot more satisfying in my opinion. Next up, we have two that affect player and AI death, depending on how you configure them. First, with SSD death screams, basically when a player or AI is killed or wounded, they will make a scream or death rattle, which adds a lot of dynamic sound to firefights in combat. This mod is configurable to disable certain sounds such as wounding and also adjust certain probabilities and stuff. For example, you can make it so you only hear death rattle when the person is shot in the chest. Some of the sounds can be a little over the top, so I recommend reducing some of the probabilities just so you don't constantly hear screams in the middle of a firefight. It can be a little immersion breaking. Alongside this, we have death and hit animations, which is something I've wanted in Arma 3 for a long time. Back in Arma 2, when enemies were killed, they would play a pre-made death animation and fall to the floor. These animations weren't perfect. Overall, it made the deaths feel a bit more cinematic, but, you know, they weren't exactly realistic or perfect. But when Arma 3 came around, essentially they implemented physics-based ragdolls, which in some ways are better, but my issue with the ragdolls in Arma 3 is that they often behave very strangely, especially in multiplayer, and result in weird flailing arms and glitching bodies that kind of take you out of the combat. And, you know, I've always kind of wanted to go back to that animated style system, or a mixture system where it's both ragdoll and animations. And with this animated hit and reaction mod, you essentially solve that problem with some excellent animations that play, showing the enemy falling over, clutching their wound as they die, and then transitioning into a ragdoll that can interact with the environment. It's not a perfect system, but it is miles above the way vanilla Arma 3 handles it, in my opinion. Alongside the death animations, you get hit animations, such as stumbling when shot in the leg when running, or flinching from an arm shot. This mod is configurable in the add-on options, so you can disable the animations on players. And there are definitely moments when hit reactions are cool, like in the middle of a firefight, you get shot and you kind of flinch, you have to, like, you know, deal with it. But sometimes it can be a little annoying, like if you're getting shot over and over again, you're just like stun locked. So, you know, you kind of can prefer it to how you, or configure it to how you prefer, basically. Next up, I'm going to go with the effects mod. Like the sound mods, there are many out there. The one I'd recommend is Blastcore Murr edition. Adds a lot of reworked particle effects for explosions and similar things. Adds a lot, especially to artillery being called in and airstrikes. The next mod is Project SFX, rather, which has a lot of smaller, miscellaneous sounds, which still do quite a lot to make the game feel more immersive and modern. These include things like zipper sound when opening your inventory, noticeable tick as your magazine approaches empty, and a sound that plays as you aim your gun. These sounds are also configurable and add-on options, so you can disable stuff that you think is too much. Next up, we have Ghost Recon Third Person, which all it really does is place the third-person camera to the right and zoomed in behind the player. Not a huge change, but if you prefer to play with third person, it gives you a different feel. Makes it easier to aim if you need to as well. And also reduces situational awareness a bit, which, that's always been a problem with third person, is being able to cheat a bit. So, kind of reduces the likelihood that you're going to do that. Now we have Simple Suppress, which there are multiple suppression mods out there, and this is the one that I prefer just because I have it configured the way I want, but you can't go wrong with any of them as long as you configure it to how you want. Essentially, in games like Squad, where you're getting shot at, a lot of your screen will begin to darken and reduce your situational awareness and make it a lot harder to fight back. Also giving you a reminder that you're under danger and should probably take cover and, hunker down. Definitely it's a personal preference, but I like how suppression does that for you. It kind of makes you slow down your gameplay a bit rather than, you're getting shot at and you immediately try to locate the guy and shoot at him. You're kind of forced to okay, I got to take a moment here, take cover. Kind of simulates that fear of death a little bit that you just don't get in video games. Next up is WBK Immersive Animations. These work well with Project SFX, which basically adds small animations for when you are using mystical equipment, like your watch, your compass, and your map. Next up is Better Inventory, which adds a new UI for using your inventory, and it is a really nice refresher from years of using the vanilla Arma 3 inventory. It's generally more functional, and I mostly prefer it just because it looks nicer. The last mod we have today is the Animated Grenade Throw mod, which this one is a pretty big game changer for me because for years in Arma 3, you've basically had two ways to do grenades. First is the default Arma 3 method, which had much more to be desired because, you couldn't really aim it very well and you couldn't really control it at all. It was just press grenade button and you throw it. And also, you would add new players would accidentally press the grenade button and kill their teammates and stuff. There was a lot more to be desired there. The second was the ace throw, which, added an ace, which essentially, it's almost too mechanical to use. You would basically be able to perfectly aim it wherever, and, it just felt a little, not very immersive, basically. Now, with this mod, you have an animation to pull the grenade out, and you can even cook it, and you're able to precisely aim with it using an immersive aiming graphic, not just, dots like an ace. And it really slows down grenade throwing, which is nice. We all have probably encountered moments in Arma 3 where you're just spamming grenades just because you can. This kind of reduces that. You can even cook smoke grenades and run along with it, trailing the smoke behind, which might have limited utility, but it sure looks cool. Alright, so those were the mods I think add a lot to Arma 3's core gameplay experience. Feel free to let me know in the comments whether you have any other suggestions or thoughts, and please like and subscribe because that really helps me out. Anyway, till next time, this has been 95% Rookie, and hope you have a good day, and see ya.